All right, cool.
And then you can just, make it full screen.
Can I just arrow down? All right, guys, awesome. I'm going to get the call started, and I got a lot to go through today. What I'm going to do is kind of a recap of the keynote speakers at Men's Training Camp Live. And this information doesn't just have to do with men building the business. It has to do with everybody. So you're going to pull out a lot of points here, and it'll be a good video to watch over and over again if you're looking for some information and inspiration. But what I'd like to do first is go through some Success Club. All right, cool. So people that have made it in Success Club so far, and this is, again, I only had information from Project Fearless. So if you've made it Success Club in Team Pan, congratulations. And for those that have made it in Project Fearless, Kylie Jolliker, Mariah Nichols, Bridget, Emily, Joan, Mackenzie, Elizabeth, Megan, Morgan, and Meg. Nice job, ladies. And for those of you that are on your way, Kristen, nice job with 3. And everybody else coming in at 2, myself, Aaron, Lindsay, Jenny, Serena, Dominique, Jennifer, and Shannon. Great job, ladies and gentlemen. And a big shout out goes to Kylie Jolliker for 4-star diamond. Nice job. And I think I did the call back in March when she promoted to 3-star. So it's kind of like, I don't know, when you go 5-star, I'll probably be doing your call too. Cool. So my first slide that has any meat to it is this slide. And why do I show this slide? Chris probably recognizes this slide if he's on the call right now. This was right after we were at lunch, and this was right after on Sunday. So we had Saturday all day, and then Sunday was a half day of training and talks and people just providing a ton of information. The whole point of the weekend was not to just motivate us and not to just provide us with a bunch of information, was to have us execute. And I'll be honest, I haven't made Success Club in a while, and my business was failing, and I was in a funk, basically, because I wasn't really working on a daily basis. So what Chris had us do was write down our goals. And we had to write down a 7-day goal, we had to write down a 30-day goal, a 2-month goal, and then an end-of-the-year goal. And my end-of-the-year goal is to end the year as 5-star. And this is just public accountability so that as I work towards this, I know that I have a lot of people that are going to help hold me accountable. My wife, Kat, over there in the living room, in the other time zone in our apartment. And so what I wrote down was I put reach out to at least 100 people that I've never spoken to. And this was going to be in the first 7 days when I got back on Monday. Well, I got back Sunday late, but when I got back on Monday, I started reaching out to at least 20 people a day. And I have the notebook to prove it. And I reached out to, I think, 150 people that week. And I went from Emerald, I was probably 3 and maybe 2 or 3 on the other side, my left and right. And I didn't have a builder yet. My business was kind of stalled out and I was just losing people. What ended up happening, because I reached out to over 150 people, is it wasn't the people that I reached out to that became coaches and I put in a challenge group, was because I had that momentum and I built that momentum back up. I actually had people reach back out to me that I had talked to months ago. And 3 of those people are now coaches of mine and 2 of them are actually building, which is really neat. So my first goal after reaching out to those 100 people in that first week was diamond rank by 5/3 or by 5/31. And I missed it by 3 days, but I achieved it the first week of June. And then 1-star rank back by the 15th. And I achieved that, I think, on the 13th or something. So, and I had been missing all of my diamond matching bonuses from Joan.
Sorry.
And so what happened was I was just doing the work and I hadn't been. And I had been listening to Gary Vee. I had been listening to podcasts, and it allowed me to gain momentum again. And I wasn't waiting for the event. And this was weeks before we went to the event. I said, I'm not going to wait for the event to motivate me. And I really want to make it a huge point that if you're waiting for Summit to motivate you to go and hear something that's going to mean something to you, you are missing the boat. This is what Jimmy repeated multiple times at the event. If you were waiting for this event to start working, you missed the whole boat. If you were waiting for an event or Super Saturday or whatever to get your business going, it's not going to happen. You need to start tonight. So, and my next goal is obviously 2-star rank by Summit, and I'm working hard to get there, and I know I will achieve it. And even if I don't achieve it, I've built so much momentum, I'll achieve it a week after Summit or 2 weeks after Summit. But I have a goal to achieve 2-star rank by Summit. So I won't belabor that issue. Chris knows, and I'm holding myself accountable to what I wrote down. And I wrote it down. He had us write it down for a reason, because if you're just saying, well, I might, or I'm going to try, or something like that, Chris knows, and I know from pure experience, it's never going to happen. When somebody says, I'll maybe do something, it's never going to happen. So let me get into the call. And we had a surprise guest, and I don't know if you guys know, but Carl Deichler, Uncle Carl, showed up and gave us a lot of information. I'm going to run through some of the stuff that he said, and I might touch upon things that stood out to me. And the first one, which was the theme of the whole weekend, is be responsible for yourself. What does that mean to me? That means nobody's going to get me up and do my workout for me. That means nobody's going to post in my challenge groups or post to my social media for me. That means nobody is going to reach out to the 10 people, 20 people, 30 people a day for me. I have to be responsible and work my business like a business. I don't want it to be a hobby for myself anymore. I've seen my wife and all of her accolades and all of her team's success, and yeah, I'll be chasing that, but that's fine with me. I'm okay with that, because I know that as I'm working towards my goals, we are achieving our goals as a couple, and the team is achieving their goals. So that's fine. And we have something people want and need. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to be fit. And everybody wants to have a community of people that are all being successful around them and working on themselves. Excuses as to why men or women, but focused on men because it was a men's leadership event, health and fitness is hard to get guys to do. That's just bullshit. It's not. It's just an excuse as to why you might not be signing up guys or having conversation with guys. It might take a different approach with guys, but they do it. It's easy to not show up. Everybody has that excuse. It's easy to sleep in. Sure. You can hit snooze all you want. But again, nobody's going to come and splash water on your face and get you out of bed. People say, and a lot of guys say this, it's a woman's business. Well, that's just a loser mentality. And you're not working hard enough to make your business successful, because you're using something that you can't control as an excuse. That's taking all the ownership off of you and putting it onto something that you can just say, hey, not my fault, it's a woman's business. And that's just crap too. Men have, throughout the ages, created independent nations, rescued people from burning buildings. And what Carl was meaning is we're passionate about fighting for something we believe in. So women are that way too. If you believe in your business, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in what you're talking about and you're passionate, then you're going to have belief in yourself and belief in what you're talking about. And that's going to come through in your conversations. That's going to come through when somebody in your challenge group says, I'm not really motivated right now. And you're going to message that person and say, I haven't been motivated before, but I want to lose 20 pounds. I have a wedding to go to. I want to fit in this dress. I have a new pair of pants. I have a suit that I want to fit in. Or I just want to work my business so that I can pay for my Shakeology, whatever your goal is. So you always have to keep that in mind. Sales and marketing, you're going to experience resistance. I do sales for my full-time job. I get hung up on all the time when I'm making cold calls. I get told no. But what I make sure of is that I'm selling the value of what I have to offer in my line of work on my day job. And we also make a value proposition in Beachbody, right? So when we post, we're either educating, entertaining, or empowering people to either a call to action or to reach out to us because they're interested in Shakeology or they're interested in a business opportunity. That's our responsibility. Be an outsider. Who cares if none of your family, friends, coworkers, anybody believes in what you're doing? If you believe in it and you're the only person in your circle, just find other people to invite in your circle. It's for other people. It's not for other people. It's for you. It's for Joan. It's for Kat. It's for Bridget. It's for everybody that wants to create the lifestyle that they see us creating. And that's what we do. We attract people to us. And Joan says this all the time, and I won't belabor it, but ego. Gabby Bernstein, it messes with you and tells you that you don't belong. Belong to what? Belong to a group of people, a network of people, a community of supportive people that are all in this to help each other succeed? Yeah, I think that's for everybody. And everybody wants to be a part of that. Show up all the way. What does that mean? That means go all in. When you know you're good at something, put all your chips in that basket. Push them all over. If your business isn't doing well, it's your fault. Corporate's up 30% in sales, and these are statistics that Carl was throwing at us. If your business is failing, if your business is going backwards, if you have coaches quitting, if you have customers saying they're not interested in coaching, it's your fault. It's your business. It's not your upline's fault. It's not your team's fault. It's not the weather. It's not your dog's fault. It's not Beachbody products, because other people are hugely successful and they have the same products. The common denominator is you. The common denominator is me. So we have to work harder on ourselves than we do on our excuses. And that's when you'll move your business along. If your Beachbody's doing well, if your business is doing well and you're doing well, you get all the credit. It's because you're working your face off. Be responsible. Outwork anybody that thinks they can outpace you. Don't worry about people that sign up 20, 50 Success Club points. Continue doing consistently the behaviors, the vital behaviors, the 4 vital behaviors, and you will succeed. There's no way that you can't. The only way you can't succeed is if you quit. Failure will become part of your repertoire. You're going to fail, and that's fine. We learn from all of our failures. And this is kind of garbled. I was taking notes, and Carl was a little all over the place. So he was talking about he wants to eat pizza, and using the damn little containers is tough, and he was all over the place. But what we do, we attract people with our business model. We're a network marketing business. We're a business of like-minded individuals, and our Beachbody motto is help people lead healthy and fulfilling lifestyles, correct? So that's going to attract people that might be scared of what's going to happen in the next 24 months or 19 months as we go into a mini recession. Carl was throwing out some statistics about the economy and what's going to be happening and things like that. I don't know if you hear Britons might be seceding from the government or what's going on, but there's a lot of economic upheaval. There's always economic upheaval. But what you need to realize is in softer economic times, our business model does better. People are looking for a different option. Get out of your cubicle. Talk to people. Offer people to take a bike ride with, go running with, join your challenge group. This used to be a face-to-face business, and it still is, because you and I are having a face-to-face conference call right now. We're doing a Zoom chat. You probably meet with coaches that you can't meet with physically face-to-face on the computer and have chats with them all the time. So just continue doing that. What does our business offer? Pay off debt, pay off credit cards, pay off your house, car loans, student loans. And something that I'll kind of talk about with Gary, he said that Gary Vaynerchuk was a speaker and keynote, and he kind of made this point. He doesn't talk about stuff until after he's achieved it. So don't talk about, I'm going to pay off my house and I'm going to buy this car and I'm going to wear bling bling and all this stuff. Pay off your car and then talk about it. Don't put it out there, because what happens if you don't pay off your car for 2 years? People are going to be like, I thought you were going to pay off your car. There are people that are following you and they're watching you. And then one of the things he mentioned was Beachbody On Demand is the most comprehensive program ever created. We have so many different programs that fit so many different goals and lifestyles for people. It's almost incomprehensible the amount of ways that we can attract people to our business and help them achieve their goals physically and health-wise. The obstacles are your mind. Reach that person to help them. So when you're thinking about what you're posting, tell your story. And I'm going to get to that with Bo Eason a little bit. So I'm going to hurry up and kind of go through these slides. What we do is attract, connect, and invite. I know Dave Ward has said this. Chris says this. This is what we do. We attract people to our circle. We connect with them, whatever they're looking to do, build a business, get financially fit, get physically fit, just be surrounded by like-minded people. We connect with them on that, and then we invite them to either a biz op opportunity, either a challenge group to help them with their physical goals, whatever that is. We always have something to invite people to. Carl has a Shakeology goal, 500,000 bags per month. I don't know what we do now, but that's one of his goals, or that was a goal. We do that right now, and then I think his future goal within 2 years is 2 million HD Shakeology people. It's going to be hard, but war is hard. And if you think of every morning that you're getting up and you're going to war, this war on obesity, this war on negativity, and you're going at it with that perspective, it allows you to feel like I'm fighting for something. I'm fighting for, Beastie Boys just popped into my head, my right to party, but my right to obviously be fit, physically fit, financially fit, be surrounded by, all of us, help people out of their negative spiral. It's hard to sell when it's the real thing. If I told you without any context that I have something to offer you, but you're going to have to work out for 30 minutes to an hour a day, you're going to have to work on a business 2 to 5 hours a night, and it's going to be hard and grueling, and you're going to get rejection, and you're going to have people saying no to you, would you sign up for that? Possibly not, but it's out of context. There's no upside in that. If I show you what's possible and that people have already done it, and I show you people have paid off their houses, people have brought their spouses home, people have lost enough weight so they don't have to be on medication anymore. That's the upside. So that's what we're selling. That's what we're marketing. And then lead. Just be a leader. So Carl's metrics 2 years out, 10 million Beachbody On Demand subscribers. I think we have about 100,000 now. And obviously these are lofty goals, but Carl said if you didn't put them out there, you'd never achieve them. 2 million Shakeology HD customers, 60,000 people live instructors. I don't know how many people on the call are live instructors, but I got my P90X Live certification last year. I haven't really done anything with it, but allows me to know that what I'm doing, I have a little more credibility when people are like, oh, you're a P90X Live instructor? Yeah, I've gone through the class and I've done the program twice and I've had a lot of success with that. So what Carl's main point is that you can attend all these conferences, you can attend the men's training camp, you can attend Summit, you can attend Super Saturday. What does that matter if you don't do anything with it? If you don't go out and execute on a daily basis and you don't go after your goals every day, just like fitness, your business is going to fail. It's going to go backwards. So what he was talking about is plug back into your team and help your teammates that want to do the business, help those people. If there's people that are negative about it and people that are dragging you down, and tell them to work on themselves first, come up with a plan with them, and have them execute that plan. Because I'm not going to sit here. This isn't a call to motivate you. This is a call to inform you that everybody's on the same playing field. We all have the same products. The biggest difference between me and some other successful coach is just them and their story. And it has to do with their hustle. It has to do with how much they're willing to do with their business and for themselves and for their team. Break through doors and obstacles. That's what we do every day, guys. If you don't think that we're breaking through doors and obstacles by what we're posting, it's getting through to people and it's sinking into people, even people that you never talk to, then you don't realize the power of what you're posting on social media and your story and what you're talking about on a daily basis, whether it's to your challenge group members, whether it's to your team, whether it's to your spouse. The belief becomes real when you talk about it, you execute, and then you have success. That's when it becomes real. And be obstinate about success. Don't let anybody tell you you're going to fail. Who cares? People fail all the time. It's fine. It's a lesson that you learn, and then you move on and you grow. And then help as many people as possible. And in the end, that's what we're here to do. It's not about rank. It's not about a bonus. Those are great. But what we're here to do is help that person on the other side of the computer screen. The person that might be depressed. The person that might not have a plan of action. The person that might not know what they're eating is bad for them. That's where we have a solution. We're filling a need, and we're demonstrating that from us using the products and the supplements and being plugged into a community. The one thing that really works, before and afters, guys. If you haven't done a program from start to finish and tracked your nutrition and done it to a T, I'm not going to say you're not going to be successful, but it's going to be very hard. And I don't know any successful Beachbody coach, top 10 or top 200, that haven't done a program from start to finish and followed the nutrition to a T. I don't think there are any. And if people are worried about Beachbody, and I think this was something that Carl brought up because he's like, oh, well, Beachbody advertises and those customers go to Beachbody. Well, only 0.5% of people that come to Beachbody from radio convert directly to Beachbody. So there's 99.5% of the other people that are consistently hearing the ads on radio, the ads on the websites, ads on TV, the infomercials that we can reach out to. That when I say, and people say, oh, what do you do? I'm a Beachbody coach. Well, what's that? Well, have you ever heard of P90X or Insanity? Unless you've been living under a rock or you're the last caveman on the planet without a TV, then you've heard about those. And 99.5. Non-negotiable. Make it non-negotiable to be 5-star. And I know Bob Lucido and Keith Callahan talk about this. To be a millionaire coach, it takes 5 5-star diamonds in your organization. And I think Bob has something like 40. So that's why he's successful. For God's sakes, the Secret Service does P90X. Carl just kind of threw that out there. Obviously, it works. And if it's hard, that means there's opportunity. But as coaches, we're going to see it through. People have been schooled, and I'm going to hurry this up and talk a little bit more. I'm not going to jump ahead, but I'm just going to kind of dictate these and walk through. People have been schooled to stay inside the lines, to do a good job. We'll pay you if we want to. This is corporate America. This is the educational system. Don't draw outside the lines. Be a good dad. Don't complain. Don't ruffle anybody's feathers. Well, nobody got anywhere from not ruffling anybody's feathers. And I'm not saying go out and get in a fist fight with somebody, but I'm saying if you have a belief and you stick to it and you demonstrate that it's being successful for you and you're demonstrating that it's successful for others and you have true belief in it, you're going to stake your reputation and stake your life on that dream and on your goals, and you're going to get there. You're going to succeed, and you're going to attract people that might have been watching you for a little while and wanted to do the same thing you've done. There's problems. Thank God there are. If there wasn't an obesity epidemic in America where 1/3 of the people were obese or overweight, we really wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have anything to solve. We'd be back in corporate America, or we'd be doing other things. And he said, leave here with the tools to succeed. I want you to leave this call with tools to succeed so that you know what to do and formulate a game plan, just like Chris had us do in the notebook that I first showed you, that first slide. What's your 7-day goal? What's your action plan? 30 days out, 60 days out, 90 days out, 6 months. Where do you want to be? And then reverse engineer it to get there. And then just work every day to solve problems. You're going to work through it. You're going to get through whatever it is, because where you are now, somebody's gotten to the point where you want to get. So you have people that you can reach out to that are going to help you past whatever obstacles you're facing. Together, obviously, we're going to go through and we're going to fight hard. And no more excuses, guys. There's enough resources. I know with Team Panacea and Team Project Fearless, there's so many resources in the back office and in the team pages. It's ridiculous. There's more than enough resources. You know, I think Mike Ryan or a couple of the other coaches were talking about, there was no trainings. There was nothing in the Coach Online office when they got started. They were just having chats online with people and, you know, signing them up with P90X, and there wasn't even challenge groups when they got started. So we're very, very lucky. We have so many resources. All right. So I'm going to go through, and there's 3 keynote speakers. Gary Vee, I'm just going to talk real quick about him, and I could go on and on and on about what Gary does for me. And I know some people don't want to listen to him because he swears and he says shit and other words and bad words and language, but it's to get a point across. And one of the things he did say was, there was a question because he wrote in his book about how MLMs, he's not a big fan of them, but he explained it right up front when he got on stage. People care too much about what other people think. And he got questions before he actually went on stage about, why did you say that in the book? And he stated it right when he got there. He's like, you guys care way too much about what I think. Who cares what I think? If you know what you're doing is going to help other people and you're not hurting anybody and you're not impeding anybody's way of lifestyle, then who cares? Who gives a shit what Gary Vaynerchuk thinks? He's got his own thing going on. This is our thing. So we can press on. But you're required to you're required to put out content that's going to make you vulnerable. And I think that lends itself to people being possibly scared to put up posts, talk to people. But if you have true belief, then it doesn't matter. One fundamental difference in an MLM or our network is people think, I'm going to find someone to do all the work for me. And that's crap, guys. You have to continue doing consistent work. Nobody's going to build your business for you. You're not going to be on an island sipping a Mai Tai somewhere and somebody's just going to be building your business because they love it and they appreciate you for enrolling them. That's not going to happen. You have to build your business and you have to practice consistent behaviors on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis for anything to happen. And then obviously people in our business model, not Beachbody specifically, but he was just saying this kind of in general, there's no passion for the products being sold. That's why you see so many other people out there just pushing product. They don't care about it. They're just pushing product. They want to make a sale. What we're doing is very special because we talk about our story. We talk about what it impacts us, how it makes us feel, what it's done for us, what it's done for our family, what it's done for our friends. If you're not doing as well as you want, it's your fault. There's nobody else to blame. The buck stops with you. So look in the mirror when you get up in the morning and say, it's my fault. And when you take ownership of it, it is so freeing. When you know that you're the person that can make those changes to be more successful in your life, there's nobody else to blame. You strip away all the excuses and you're left kind of raw and naked, then it's it. It's just you. It's you versus what your excuses are. Get all your excuses out of the way and just press forward. And then he talks about a little bit about how we're all lucky to be a human being. And he talks about the math. And he's like, if you guys think about the math it takes to be a human being, and he goes into this long diatribe of your dad and sperm and the amount of sperm and blah, blah, blah. But for us to be a human being born in the United States, you're already hit the jackpot because we have the best country in the world. You have the most opportunities out of anybody ever in the history of time. And we have this business model in this way of sharing it on social media that's changed the way business is done, and it's leveled the playing field for everybody. And then just care about people. Because in the end, it's people that we're trying to impact. It's people that we're trying to help. Don't worry about the rank. Worry about helping those people get their goals. I think Zig Ziglar said it, and Jim Rohn reiterates it, that if you help enough people get what they want, you're going to automatically receive what you want. And then I could go on about Gary, but I only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to quickly go through what Scott Mann and Bo Eason talk about. But Gary, just to recap, has been a huge motivation for me because where I consume a ton of personal development, he's read 3 books. I think one was Barbara Walters' autobiography. The other one was a hockey player, and I don't know what the third one was. And he has no idea why he read the Barbara Walters book. He thinks that's weird. But I consume so much personal development, but I don't execute. So he's kind of my antithesis where all he does is execute. All he does is work. All he does is put what he does into action and creates business and creates opportunity and sells and markets. And it's kind of shifted my mindset. So now that's what I'm more geared towards. I still obviously listen to personal development because it's one of the 4 vitals, but I don't do it as much until I've done my execution of my business. So Scott Mann was awesome. He's an ex-Green Beret. He does a lot of these trainings, and he's actually been coached by Bo Eason, who I'll kind of wrap up with. But he talks about building trust. And that's what we're doing here on social media, whatever platform you're using, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you're on Vine, you're on Snapchat, whatever you're doing, the post that you're posting, you're building trust with people that are attracted to you. You're building trust so people can reach out to you. You're building trust so that when you reach out to someone, it's not weird. So the way you're telling your story, people that I reach out to inevitably bring up, man, you and your wife look awesome. What are you guys doing? I'd love to be, part of that challenge group, or what are your workouts all about? I don't even have to bring it up. I'm just goofy, and I reach out to them based on a post that I post of George, but it's building trust because if they have a dog, they're going to say, oh, George is awesome. Here's my pug, or here's my Doberman, or here's my Rottweiler, or here's my Great Dane, Diesel. That creates a common ground. There's always going to be struggle, chaos, and mayhem. But what happened was years ago, and even to this day, people find a way to lead. And he really talks about rooftop leadership. And what rooftop leadership is, just to kind of sum it up, is he talks about being in a firefight. They go as a Green Beret, he went into local areas and he was fighting with them. They didn't want him there. They didn't want the Green Berets there. So what he did was to build trust and to bridge that gap of communication and trust. Every night when they started getting fired upon, he'd get all his gear on. He would climb up, and it was just him at first. He would climb up to the rooftop and return fire. And he'd be getting fired upon. And all the townspeople, the local townspeople, were like, this guy's crazy. I don't know what he's doing. It's not going to work. They're just going to keep firing. He did this. He did this day after day after night after night. What he talks about was that one night he did this, and then he saw somebody else on another rooftop returning fire. It was one of the locals that figured that if he's going to be doing this on a daily basis and he's not going anywhere and he's going to continue returning fire and trying to protect the village, that they're going to join him. And then the next night, another one. And the next night, another one. And that's what it's like with coaching, guys. You think that when you go to your computer and sit down and you reach out to 20 people, you're just kind of turning your wheels and spinning your wheels. It's actually building a habit that you can teach your people to do. And if you're doing a live power hour and only one person shows up the first night, 2 weeks from now, you might have 5 people doing a live power hour with you. It's the same type of thing, rooftop leadership. So he talks about know your arena, we're animals, mammals, predators, top of the food chain. A laptop can't operate without the operating system. Human beings can't operate without a brain, right? So when you program your brain to think correctly and you get in the right mind space and you're reaching out to people and you're having conversations and you're bridging that trust and you're filling in the void of why should I do business with this person? Why should I join this person's team? You're going to have those conversations that are going to build trust. He calls it the Malthusian gap. I'm not going to go into it. The slide is here, and you can actually download it on Google Images. It's a really good slide, but it talks about bonding trust. You can only trust a group, a gender, ethnicity, family, work groups. It's really close-knit at first, and that's all that people use to trust. Bridging trust is essential in life. Social capital is measured. Can I trust you? Are you on the same political wavelength as I am? Do you post things that I like to do? Are you a mountain biker? Are you a Harley Davidson fan? Do you own a dog? That type of stuff. And it's surface, but a lot of what goes on is below the waterline. And this is where he talks about epic erosion of trust. And this happened years ago, and it's happening to this day about trusting the government or trusting local politicians and things like that. He goes into great detail about it, but basically talks about scarcity, skepticism, and conflict. And that's what rules the clan. And you have to pay attention to what goes on below the waterline because that dictates people's behavior. And I'll kind of post this right here. It's the iceberg concept of culture. Like an iceberg, the majority of culture is below the surface. And this is a downloadable image, and there's all kinds of different images on Google Images. But top kind of surface, food, dress, music, visual arts, I won't read through them all. But then if you look deep culture, subculture, you're going to notice things that dictate human behavior, that attract people to you, that allow people to trust you. That's going to be courtesy, rules of conduct, facial expressions, nonverbal communications, body language, eye contact. You ever have somebody talk to you and they kind of look away? Do you trust that person? No, you have eye contact. Like I'm looking directly at all of you right now, I'm not looking directly at any particular person, but I'm talking into the camera. So there's that bridging of trust. So you trust me because I'm looking right at you. Now I'm reading, but social interaction rate, nature of friendships, preference for competition or cooperation, concept of self, concept of past and future, attitudes towards dependence, problem solving, roles in relation to age, sex, class, occupation. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on underneath the waterline. And you have to pay attention to that because that's where a lot of people's actions and behaviors are dictated by. What you're posting, think about who your audience is, who you're trying to attract. If you post a video, think about the tone of your voice. Think about the inflection of your voice. Think about the words that you use. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about how people get offended that he swears. He says he measures their ability to get the message from him because if they're worried about a swear word, why are they so worried about a swear word? He's not going to want to do business with them. If somebody's offended by that, if the message is on point, now if you're just swearing to swear for no reason, obviously that's different. So Scott recommended a book, Bellowing Alone, Robert Putnam. He talks about the strongest years of bridging trust, 1910 to 1972. Leadership groups were created to fill voids. And he talks about different social issues. And think about it, guys. AA, that filled the void. Future Farmers of America, that filled a void. People got together and they were leaders in their community. The Elks Club, what are we doing with Beachbody? We're filling a gap. We're filling a void in our culture, in our communities, so that we can help people get to a goal where they might not have known what to do. They might not have a system. They might not have a system of what to do fitness-wise, to get out of financial debt, to have a program or know what to eat. So many people think that buying processed food is actually good for them. They've been lied to. They've been marketed to. It's our responsibility to teach people. And then community family network. And obviously that says it all about Beachbody. We're a community, we're a family, we're a network of like-minded people all helping other people to get the goals that they want. Lead from the rooftop. So here's another book recommendation that he made, Game Changers by Scott Mann. So he wrote that. If you will stand and fight with us, you will be doing what your ancestors have done for thousands of years. So people banded together and they fought for a common cause. And most of the time it was to save the village and protect people's lives. And if you don't think that we're not doing that, then you're missing the boat on what we do at Beachbody. It's going to get harder before it gets easier. The more people you reach out to, the bigger your audience grows. You're going to have more resistance. You have to be stronger than the resistance that you're feeling. And that comes with belief. That comes with knowing that what you're doing is impacting people, whether it's financially, physically, mentally, spiritually. There's so many different avenues that you have to impact someone. And it's just communicating to them and connecting on one point and then bringing them into the family. What happens, we will fight whether you do or not. So it doesn't depend on what happens. We're going to fight no matter what. You're going to get SC10 no matter what. You're going to reach out to 10 to 20 people no matter what. These are just non-negotiables that you create for yourself in your business. One guy decides to help one night and they saw that he was standing up for them. So they started helping him stand up for themselves. And then collectively, that village was inevitably able to suppress that fire, and that village wasn't harmed. That village wasn't shot upon after that, because anytime somebody would fire into that village, a rain of gunfire, hellfire basically would be lit up on that person, that individual in that general direction, and it would stop right away. Compelling stories that connected with locals. So they talked about things that would bridge that trust gap with the locals. Rooftop leadership allows people to start to go with you and defend themselves. Because one person, let's just put it in Beachbody terms, because Chris decided to do P90X and join a challenge group and reach out to me and ask me about coaching, it allowed me to help myself, it allowed me to help Joan, and it's allowed us and Joan and her team and Team Pan to help now thousands of people. Can you guys imagine if Chris hadn't done P90X and didn't want more for his family or more for his friends, or if I hadn't reached back out to him to touch base with him, I don't know where we'd be. I don't even want to think about it. But one of the guys that Scott mentions was Romy Camargo. He's a quadriplegic, and he wanted to start a charity that assisted injured veterans. And Scott is, I think he's one of the principals or one of the executive directors of his foundation. And it's amazing because Veterans Affairs, people in the government, they just said, no, let the VA take care of you. You're all set. And Romy wasn't having any of that. And he wanted to help victims. He wanted to help veterans transition back into civilian lifestyle, people with injuries, people with any disorder that they came back with. He wanted to be a place, kind of a safe refuge for them. And it's amazing. They've helped thousands and thousands of veterans and soldiers that have come back. And there's more on Scott Mann, but I'm going to go to Bo Eason now and I'll finish up. I know I've gone over. Sorry, guys. Bo Eason, and I've seen him twice now, and I will eventually go to one of his trainings, and he talks about your personal story power. So it's exactly what we do for Beachbody in our attraction marketing. But what he says is, if you're an amateur and you're posting things that are kind of salesy and markety and you look kind of amateurish, he said, I'm not comfortable with being led by amateurs. People that are hesitating, like I think this is like people with their toes in the water, or they're half in, half out, they're kind of doing something. Nobody wants to follow that. Somebody's going to follow you if you say, Beachbody's amazing, it's my lifestyle now, and it's how I've changed my life. Thousands of people are affected by it. You should hop on. It's a freaking awesome ride. Join us. To be the best is the most primal position. We are DNA genetically programmed to be the best. And if you think about that for a second, we're human beings. How lucky are we to be human beings? And how lucky are we to be human beings in this day and age where we have this opportunity to share with other people, to help them be the best? Who won the first race you ever entered? You did. Sperm fertilized the egg. It kind of goes back to Gary's story about you won the first race that you were ever in. If you think about it, it's kind of weird, but you did. Hate losing and love winning. People hate losing. People love winning. That's us. I know every successful Beachbody coach, they hate losing. They will deal with a temporary defeat, but they'll work their face off to get back to wherever they want to be and to achieve their goals. And if you want to be undefeated, you must align yourself with Mother Nature. Mother Nature 1, human being 0. she wins every time. Most critical. So this is kind of my last slide, and then I guess we can open it up to questions or comments if anybody has any. The most critical things, the more personal your story is, the more universal it becomes. Detail equals power. If I talk about playing Nintendo in my living room on my 3-channel color TV in my mother's ranch, and I was playing Donkey Kong, that relates to people because there's a lot of kids that play Donkey Kong on Nintendo or Super Mario Brothers, but it's detail. And if you talk more about the detail, about your childhood, about your story, about your journey, people will relate. I've started getting more detailed about what I talk about on Facebook, and people relate to that. My art, I'm starting to share that a little bit more because that's part of who I am. I used to draw all the time. I don't anymore, but I'd like to get back into it. So I start sharing that, and people are like, oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah, you were a great artist, that type of thing. So I can bridge that trust gap with people that are just starting to follow me or friends that I haven't connected with in a while. Physicality. The more you align yourself with Mother Nature, the safer your world is. So the more you realize that you're a human being, we're a predator, that's not because we're out to kill each other, but that's just because it's our visceral nature to want to win and want to be the best. And then generosity, the art of giving all of oneself all the time. And I think, babe, did you ever find out which verse that was? King Solomon, Ecclesiastes. So we had a celebration for Joan's grandma this Saturday, and the ordained minister talks about how King Solomon was given so much riches, that God gave him that because he never asked for it, he never wanted it, but he was willing to give so much of himself. In return, God gave him more than he could have ever asked for. And that's what happens in this world. It's just the law of the universe. The more you give, you're going to receive back tenfold, 100-fold. But it's not you're giving to receive, you're just giving. You're not expecting to get back, but you will. It's just the way the world works. But for some reason, our world, facets of it, reward cowardice. It penalizes people who play the game with the spirit it was intended to play. It gives awards for being 5th place, for being 10th place, for just participating, which doesn't really teach kids or people the art of being a competitive environment. Because when you get out into the real world, they don't reward you for participation. There's a winner and a loser. The sale is made, the sale is not made. You fail the test or you pass the test. It's not, oh, well, you took the test and great job filling out all the boxes. Here's a certificate that you fill. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. So that totally boggles my mind why people think that that's good to do. Your story always starts at the bottom of Mount Everest. You never see a movie where they're already at the top putting the flag on the mountain. That'd be boring as shit. I wouldn't watch that movie. Well, they already did it. They already accomplished where's the struggle? Where's the story? Did they lose anybody? Did anybody get frostbite? Did they have to eat anybody when they crashed into the Andes or the Alps? What happened? How did they survive? How did they get to the top? That's why our stories are so important, starting from the beginning and telling it right through and just continuing to talk about your story. And then championships are scheduled. If you don't have a goal of where you're going and what you want to do by the end of this week, by Wednesday night, by the end of the month, by Summit, by Super Saturday, by September, I know there's some people with really big goals that are going to happen in September. Have you reverse engineered it and know where you have to be by the end of this week and every week up until that time? If you have, great. If you haven't, get started. But if you're not scheduling your victories, if you're not saying by this date I'm going to be a diamond, or by this date I'm going to retire from my job, by this date I'm going to have all my debt paid off, it's never going to happen. It's just going to happen by happenstance, and it's going to happen a lot later than you're thinking of in your mind. That's all I had. Any questions? And I started off freezing because Joan had the AC on, and now I'm like sweating. Oh, are there comments that I'm not seeing? Oh, look, there's a chat going on. Gary. Ice cream. Update that doc, silly ladies. Fail. Yo, Crocker, big goals. Yo, Natalie. Nice. Living room accountability. Here's my GSP. 4 new messages. Always great info. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, cool. All right. I don't need any accolades. Is there any questions, comments? Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if Chris has mentioned this, but Dave Ward and Jimmy Hayes Nelson, who put on the leadership event. Thanks, Heath. Oh, and vote for Heath for the Beachbody Challenge. Heath, did you send that link to everybody? He's got a good chance to win, so get on that. Oh, it's already closed. Sorry. My bad. So we're going to get a lot of what I talked about, a lot of notes from a lot of the speakers. Chris spoke, Michael Ryan spoke, a lot of the Beachbody male leaders. There's going to be a playbook that we're going to receive, and it's going to have a lot of training stuff in it. It's going to have a lot of videos and things. I don't know when that's coming. They're kind of refining it right now, but it's going to be coming out. I'm going to share it with Project Fearless. I'm sure Chris will share it with Team Pan, but don't wait for that. I guess my message across the board is, don't wait for anybody to motivate you. Find something that motivates you. Find your why and use that to get your, oh, can you guys hear me? Cat's paused and your eyes are closed.